I'd like to illustrate some of the features of the invoicing system that we've built in ADS. This is the invoice viewer for our test group. You can see we're logged in as an administrator for the test group. And listed here are the invoices for all the facilities that the group covers. The month, the year, the facility are all listed. And we also have a placeholder for the invoices themselves that can be viewed by anyone on the page. Simply clicking on the file link will bring up a PDF view or a view of whatever the file is that was uploaded for the invoice. The key to the view is that the status can be changed based on whatever step in the invoicing process the particular invoice is at. Also, what's nice about this is while the group sees obviously invoices for all their facilities, each facility can only access their specific data. So if we switch here to see what a facility will see logged in as test facility 1, all that administrator would see are the invoices sent to their facility. Going back to our test group here, we can see that we have different statuses. One is charges that need to be billed. Second are charges that were invoiced and that are due to the group. And then lastly, we can see here when invoices are paid and received. In order to change the status of these different invoices, you can click here on the edit icon, and this will allow the appropriate user to make the appropriate changes. So looking at the status here for this invoice for test group 1 facility, or for test facility 1 for the test group, it's been sent, and we want to know when that gets received, and we want to know when payment is sent from that facility. Here we are logged in as an administrator now for facility 1. We've received our invoice, we've sent our payment in the mail, and we want to send the message to the group that that payment is on the way. We can do that by clicking on this edit icon, check that the payment has been sent. We can tell them the date that the payment has been sent. Click update. And while the invoice is still due because payment has not been received, it now shows that payment was sent and who entered that payment information. When we go back to our group view and click refresh, we can now see that that data is illustrated here, that payment has been sent and who has sent it. A few days go by, our payment's received. We want to send that communication to the facility that we have received payment. So here we are logged in as our group administrator. Again, clicking on the edit icon, putting in the information that the payment has been received, and clicking update. And now we see that indeed the payment has been received. Going back to the facility, clicking reload on that information, and now that shows the status of receipt. So it's a nice way for the groups to communicate with the facilities. Also, I'd like to point out that groups cannot, or excuse me, facilities cannot enter that payment has been received. Facilities can only show when payment has been sent, and then it's up to the group to confirm that payment has been received. So it's a nice way of everyone being honest in terms of what data they are able to comment on. Going back to our facility view here, if we want to go ahead and issue an invoice, again, clicking on our edit icon allows us to bring up our screen. We can enter the ID that we want to use for the invoice. We can enter the amount. The amount is still a manual entry at this time, simply because sometimes there's some extra calculations that go into what the actual invoice amount is. So we're going to do a manual enter of the invoice amount. We're going to pull up our sample invoice. And you can see now that that invoice is available to be seen, and it now shows a status of due. This is for our test group facility number 2. So we can go to that group, we can log out here. We'll log in as test facility 2. And here we are now logged in as an administrator for test facility 2, and our new invoice can be seen and viewed, and the status of due is again reflected here. So that's our invoicing system. Lots of nice features to allow for communication again between groups and facilities.